is Mandy and welcome to Mandy Mais, my channel where I talk about the adventures of a Brazilian living in Canada. And today I have a guest. I'm here with Marina from the channel Dating Beyond Borders. How are you, Marina?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to be here. We actually met in the YouTube space here, so it's kind of nice to do a video here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's so exciting to be here, guys. It's so high tech. You have no idea. Yeah, I feel important.
Me too.
Marina, do you want to give us a little bit of a background?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I'm half Canadian, half Russian in a way because I came to Canada when I was 12. And so I guess I grew up in Toronto for the most part, but I have this background of living in another country, and so this is the reason I started focusing on dating around the world.
Amazing. And now you have to go to her channel, watch the video, because when we have a video here on my channel, it means that there's a video on her channel at the same time, right? So you have to go there and you have to subscribe right now. So basically I asked on Facebook for you guys to ask her some questions about dating, the differences between Canada and Brazil, and you did. So let's get started, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yay.
Let's do it for all the single people out there that are coming to North America or just want to know about North America, I guess.
Exactly, because I've been married for so long that I don't know how to answer
She
that.
doesn't know anything about dating.
No, the worst.
It's good, she's lucky.
Okay, so the first one is how Canadians approach each other, because in Brazil, it's the approaching is, I think it's different from here. Like the guy, it's normal for the guy to come and to talk to the girl, and sometimes they can be a little bit aggressive and, you know, go and touch and say things. So what do you think about it?
Oh my god, how do people approach each other? They don't.
They don't.
Like, guys, I know obviously there's exceptions and people do approach each other, but I mean, compared to Brazil, you guys are gonna come here and you're gonna hear like crickets, like no one, women, you're gonna go to a bar and you're gonna smile and nothing's gonna happen. I've had Brazilians complain to me, they're like, I go to a bar, I look at a guy, and he does nothing. Like, he absolutely does nothing. And for men, I think it may be a little bit easier because you're so used to initiating conversation. And as a Brazilian, women will respond to you a little bit more than a Canadian guy. Because they know that, you know, Brazilians have this reputation for being the Latin lover. But the women will not give you any signs here. Like, you don't get what we call a green light.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to do the guesswork. You just have to approach and hope for the best. Really, it's difficult. I think people are really scared of rejection. Obviously they're scared of harassing someone. It's not in the culture to approach people. And I think there's no defined genders here, so there's no such thing that the man has to do this and the woman has to do that.
Yeah.
So everyone's very confused. Very, very confused, really.
Okay. So how people end up getting to know each other, like meeting, dating, or whatever?
What do you think?
Online dating?
Yeah! Really, online, that's another question that, I mean, yeah, online dating is the one way that you won't get rejected, but you still do. I mean, like, honestly, it's difficult. Toronto is actually one of the top places for pickup schools. How to talk to a woman. There's all these strategies. There's a book written, it's called The Game, and it's basically how to talk to women, and the rules are really weird. Like, Brazilian men wouldn't understand it. In Brazilian culture, you have to give women compliments. Here, you have to mix it up, make her feel a little bit bad, so she seeks your approval. It's really complicated. That's why people are very confused. They don't know what to do, really.
Oh, that's a great question. What are the main complaints that you have heard from Brazilians or Canadian when they date? Like, what are the biggest cultural differences?
Ooh, there's a lot. Honestly, I think Canada and Brazil are very different. Like I said, from Brazilians, it's basically that nothing happens. There's no flirtation to the extent that it is in Brazil. Men don't call after you as much as they would in Brazil. There's little passion like there is in Brazil.
Okay.
People need to get really drunk to talk to someone. And there's definitely not a lot of spontaneity happening like there is in Brazil. I know a Brazilian woman, she came here and she started eating a lot of chocolate. She's like, no one's approaching me. She's like, like people call out to me in Brazil and it gets annoying. But when you walk down the street here and nobody does this, it's like, am I ugly? What's happening,
really?
You know? Yeah, so that's a big thing.
Yeah, I have to say, like, just to give my opinion, that I love that nobody calls out to me on the street. I feel so safe, like, because in Brazil it can get a bit, like, too much.
Brazilian men a lot of times prefer dating Canadian women because they say they're a little bit more relaxed. They're not as possessive. They're like, go out, do what you want. And no one's like texting me and calling me every hour. So that's a good thing. On the negative side, dating a Brazilian man is a little bit trickier because you never really know if he's really into you or if he's just super passionate and he's just all over the place looking at other women. So that's the other side of it.
Now that we're talking, I just thought about it. Like, I don't recall seeing people holding hands a lot here. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, it definitely. And I think if you go to Quebec, like French part of Canada, you will see that a lot more because it's
Oh, you will.
much more European, right? Here, you don't see that. You really don't.
When I was living in Quebec, I lived in Quebec for 2 years. Something that I would see a lot was men grabbing their partner's asses. So I would see that in the street. Like normally they would walk and they would just put their hands in their asses and just hold there for a long time. And even for me, and I'm Brazilian, I was a little embarrassed. Like, and I've never seen that happening here in Toronto.
No, I've never seen that happening here either.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in Quebec, grabbing asses.
It's
really?
so normal. I've seen that so much. You've seen that too?
The guy behind the camera is nodding his head.
It's
He's
nodding.
Canadian and he knows. Yeah, you don't see any sort of affection here, really. I mean, it's rare. Like, if I see someone in the subway and they're like, they're kissing each other, I'm like, where are they from?
Something else that I've heard, and that's a bit embarrassing to ask, but I'm asking anyways because I saw that you have a video on that. But Brazilians complain a lot of personal hygiene in Canada. I don't think there's nothing wrong, but in Brazil you have to shower 1,000 times a day. You have to brush your teeth 1,000 times a day. And I heard Brazilian people that were dating Canadians complain. Like, what are the habits here? Because I'm not dating. I'm dating. I'm always dating my husband. Anyways, I'm married to a Brazilian.
Does he grab your ass? No, we're not going there.
It's not Quebecois.
No, that's true. What I inserted in that was the fact that the guy, like, they have food and then the guy, like, starts flossing his teeth, which is an exaggeration. But it was the fact that Brazilian men or women pay a lot of attention to hygiene. And so they shower like 3 times a day. Yeah. And the one guy commented on the video and he said, like, but in North America, no? And I was like, no, like, maybe 1 time a day, but not more than that. He's like, no. And he couldn't believe it, but it's true. Like, nobody here takes showers more than once a day. And brushing teeth is like twice a day. Like, you wouldn't do it every time you eat. So yeah, definitely when you're dating a Canadian or North American or anybody outside of Brazil, they're not as obsessed with personal hygiene as you guys are. You guys are really into it.
So another question that I got, everybody wants to know, it's what is expected during a first date? What happens, right? Who pays the bill?
I would say generally in Canada, in Toronto, the man does pick up the bill. Like, every time I've gone out with guys in the past, it's normal that they would do that. Like, so that's not an issue. I think they're not going to be like, here, let's split the bill. In terms of kissing and things like that, again, it depends. But I would say that compared to Brazil, you wouldn't just randomly, sit across from each other and then move in next to each other and then be like, and start kissing each other. You would never do that. So normally what happens is the very expected walk home, had a good night, thank you, like the movies.
Yeah, like the movies.
And then they kiss you. And sometimes they say, can I kiss you? Which just pretty much kills any feelings in you whatsoever because it's so boring. But that's what happens. Like, it's very pre-planned. But again, we do have the system here. First date, second date, third date. By the third date, you kind of have sex or, you're supposed to kind of wait that time. People do different things. But there are certain rules. Like, if you go on the first date, the guy's supposed to wait 3 days to call you. Yeah, like, if he calls you right away, women will be like, ooh, he's too
desperate.
Close, he's desperate, And, like, I met a Brazilian guy once, I remember, and we met each other, and right away he called, and he was like, hi, how are you? And if I was a Canadian woman and I didn't know Brazilian culture, I would be like, this guy's really desperate. And this is really scary for Canadian women, so don't do it. The other thing is, when you go on the date, usually you get drinks. My friend lives in Latin America and they go for food a lot. And she's like, I get free food all the time. I'm like, this is terrible. But anyways, she goes out and she has dinner with these guys. We don't do that. We go for drinks or coffee. Normally,
you don't eat at all?
No. Generally, no. Not that custom. Not that customary to do that.
Yeah, in Brazil, it's everything's about eating. You have to have a whole bunch of food.
But is it comfortable, like, eating in front of another person if it's a first date?
It's so normal. We eat all the time.
And then you
It's
make
really
out on the
so
date
cool.
and you're like eating and then you kiss each other.
That's true. It's kind of disgusting.
And then what do you do? Like take out your
Yeah.
flaws, go brush your teeth? Maybe that's why you brush your teeth.
That's why,
So
maybe.
many times
We found out.
We figured it out.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can tell us, right?
Yeah, tell me guys, because if you
Yeah,
guys
please.
eat on a date, how then do you make out during that date, right?
Kissing in Brazil is very normal. People, one, kiss on the cheek when they meet each other is normal, right? And like giving, I don't know if that's the correct word, pecking, like I don't, a little
Yeah,
peck.
like on the cheek.
Yeah, on the mouth.
Oh, on the mouth. Okay.
Yeah, that's something that people do, and there's like even really kissing. It's something that in the parties it happens, and people kiss 10 people in one night, 20 people in one night, and it is considered for most of Brazilians, not everybody, of course. I wouldn't do that, but I know it's normal. So how would it be here? Like people go to a club, do they kiss everybody? What happens? Or they just stay and dance? It's like nothing happens.
They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't kiss 10 people a night. For sure, no. Probably they pick one person, they dance with them, they probably kiss them. If that happens. I mean, like most nights, I think people go out and they don't meet anybody. But again, it depends on the person. But no, it wouldn't be like people kissing each other because it's really even difficult to meet one person.
That's
So
true.
you meet that one person and you stick to that one person and that's it. And possibly even have sex with this one person. And by the way, this is not speaking from my own experience. I don't do that. But a lot of young girls do this.
Okay.
You know? It's like they will grind in the club. And then it's just...
And I have a final question. Like pickup lines in Brazil is something normal, and people use their creativity to do a lot of pickup lines, which you guys will be able to see in a second if you go to Marina's channel. So what about here? Do people use pickup lines? What is the style?
They're seen as cheesy. Like
Cheesy?
if you're like, wow, it's like you fell from heaven. You're like, oh, I'm gonna vomit in my mouth. No, we don't like pickup lines here. I think people are like, just the best way to approach someone is just to say, hey, say something funny.
That's it, Marina. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mandy. This was
Yeah.
fun. I loved your
Yeah.
questions, guys. Thank you so much. They're very interesting. Any other questions? I'll answer them if you guys ask below.
Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe if you didn't. So, okay.
Channel.
Yay.
Bye,
So,
guys.
Bye.
Ciao.